start you guys by asking a few questions. So the first one would be, how often do you buy coffee to go? I'm willing to bet that many of you started off your day here with a warm cup of Starbucks coffee topped off with a disposable plastic lid. How often do you use single-serving coffee pots? In a hurry, K-Cups or other brands of single-serving coffees may seem like a miracle, but in reality, their impacts on the environment are often just the opposite. And these are just a few of the questions I used in my survey on how college campuses affect sustainable behaviors in students. So as someone invested in environmental protection, I tried to minimize my impact on the environment as much as possible. But just like everyone else, there are days when my physical needs take precedence over preserving the planet. And I began to notice a pattern in these behaviors that on my busiest days, I would forget my reusable mug on my way to Starbucks for my caffeine fix. Or if I had a day where I couldn't go home for a meal, I would stop at campus's C Club for a snack that came in a plastic wrapper. And I began to wonder if myself, as a student who cares about how their actions impact the environment, has this much of an impact still, what kind of effects are other college students having? And so my survey focused on learning how students' consumption habits are influenced with their environments on a college campus. When I say consumption, I don't mean what they're eating for breakfast. I mean, as a consumer, what and how frequently they're buying things affects the environment. And so the pattern of busyness that we associate with college life really primes students to buy these pre-packaged meals, individually wrapped snacks, coffee in a plastic cup. And this takes responsibility off of the students when they buy these pre-packaged meals. There's no prep, there's no cleanup, all the waste can go straight into the garbage can. And so I was interested in finding if there's a difference between students who live on campus and are around these resources more often, have greater access to them, versus someone who lives off campus or commutes from home and isn't around these resources as often. So the potential effects of these consumption habits are really devastating for the planet. According to the Byers Institute, which is an ocean pollution research and advocacy group, Americans use 3 million plastic water bottles per hour. That doesn't include juice or soda bottles. That doesn't include data for other countries. 3 million. And according to Byers, less than 30% of those plastic bottles are recycled. So that means all the other ones are ending up in landfills as pollution on the ground or even in our waterways. And so it's easy to see how this is a large-scale problem that we need to start sizing down as soon as possible. Even worse are single-use plastics, such as flimsy plastic straws or especially K-Cups, which are used once and thrown away. And that's our mentality, is that we can't wash them out and reuse them or repurpose them for something else. And so I won't bore you with the effects of plastic pollution or why recycling is so good, because you probably already learned about that. What I want to focus on today is kind of switching this perspective of that plastic pollution is this kind of non-existent problem, that one coffee cup isn't going to make a difference. Plastic pollution is not plastic's fault, it's our fault. And despite our busy schedules as college students or professors and administrators, we need to start minimizing our use of plastic, or else those K-Cups are going to add up into a big pollution problem. So my goal with this study, as I said, was to understand the scope of the problem on college campuses and to figure out which motivating factors were most important for college students when they're making these purchasing decisions, whether that was between ease of use, the minimal time required, less cleanup, the quality of drink or food, the cost or convenience for them. And then I also wanted to understand if the type of residence had effect on these behaviors as well. So I created a 30-question survey through the online platform Quick Survey, which had 410 respondents. 360 of those were current college students, and 50 are recent college graduates from the years 2013 to 2016. And so I first asked about their residence, whether that was on campus, off campus, or commuting from home, and then about the frequency of use of different dining venues, such as the campus cafeteria, ordering takeout, or even bringing their own meals from home. And then I also asked about their plastic purchase frequency, like how often per week they would use coffee cups, as I asked you guys at the beginning. And then I wrapped up the survey by asking students to describe sustainability programs on their campus, aside from recycling, and that's where things kind of got interesting. I used a continuous sampling for the survey, so through social media and word of mouth. And there were 46 universities represented from across the country, but I ended up strictly analyzing the Butler responses. Because this was distributed through social media, kind of anyone could participate, and it ended up that maybe Texas A&M had 1 response and then Kansas had 2 or 3. So this wasn't really representative of their whole campus, which is why I took Butler's responses to analyze those instead, since I had a higher quality of those. In my findings, it turned out that there was no significant relationship between residence and frequency of prepackaged or purchase of prepackaged meals and all of that jazz. Based on the survey responses, the on or off-campus residence or commuting did not affect the frequency of how often people were buying these products. The results did show that the most common motivating factors in order were the ease of use, the minimal time required, and convenience, both for college students and recent college graduates. Which is kind of surprising to me that as college students we're not worrying about the cost for our caffeine fix, but I guess coffee is a little more valuable for some of us. And then the most interesting finding for me from this survey was that of 400 students surveyed across the country, 59% of them were not able to describe campus sustainability projects aside from recycling. And of those, 127 were from Butler. This is very surprising to me because I've worked with the Center for Urban Ecology, and I know the efforts that they're taking on our campus and in the community. And I know our Student Government Association has a lot of sustainability initiatives as well. And we even have class projects and clubs that focus on composting and reducing food waste from our basketball games at Hinkle. But as someone who seeks out these programs, it's easy for me to rattle off all the different actions that Butler is taking. And it's not that our Butler students don't care, it's just that they don't know about the problems and the ways that we're addressing them. Most students answered in the survey that they didn't know what Butler is doing specifically, but they do want Butler to do more. And one student even answered that Butler has many sustainability initiatives, but honestly, I don't know any of them. I had to censor their response a little bit. They were very excited about sustainability. So it seems that our challenge as environmental advocates is not only creating these opportunities for sustainable change, but making sure that people take notice of them and take action along with us. I'm very interested in continuing research on sustainability in college students in the future, but to improve this study, I would like to focus on lifestyle effects and not just the environmental factors. So seeing how perceived stress levels and free time would affect people's purchasing behaviors, especially since convenience is one of the factors that students reported influencing their decisions the most. And then also taking into account previous student involvement with these issues, asking about students' majors or their involvement on campus, or maybe even research that they've done in order to see if someone who's a biology or environmental studies major would answer these questions differently than maybe an accounting student who hasn't had exposure to these topics. Then, as I mentioned earlier, also focusing on a specific campus in order to obtain more representative results. So while there wasn't a correlation between my original investigation of residents and consumption habits, the survey can teach us that despite our efforts on college campuses, students aren't really aware of what's going on, but they do want schools to start doing more for sustainability. And we can use this information to help involve students from a wider variety of programs, and also for raising awareness about the programs themselves and not just the issues that they're aiming to address. So this information and continued research about college students and sustainability can show us how to create more sustainable campuses and involve more students in our efforts. Ending plastic pollution and the environmental issues that are associated with it is a global problem. We can start addressing it by educating generations of environmentally